Hey friends, Craig here from the Vinyl Record Player. Today we're ranking the studio albums of Delaney and Bonnie, and sometimes friends. So I would recommend that you buckle up. All right, so yeah, let's talk about Delaney and Bonnie today. So what I'll do is I'll kind of lay down a little bit of history first, and then I'll go right into ranking the albums. Yeah, so Delaney and Bonnie kind of met, I guess, in kind of the mid '60s, got married. Bonnie was I think she was a short-term Ikette, like a backing singer for Ike and Tina, and also Delaney was actually on a television show called Shindig in Los Angeles. And there are some earlier works, from around that time. I don't really have any of that stuff because they didn't really break into kind of, I don't want to call it the stratosphere, but into the public consciousness until really about 67, 68, when they released their first album actually on Stax, which was entitled Home. But anyway, big band that kind of got bigger. They picked up Bobby Whitlock. If you haven't seen his channel on the YouTube, you should check him out. He tells amazing stories about like Clapton and like, back in the day. And Delaney. Anyway, basically they're kind of like this rock and soul band. They do like a lot of gospel oriented stuff. I found out about these guys a couple of years ago, and it just absolutely got me into it. Never was into what they call blue-eyed soul, but these guys are bomb. In fact, I think I'd imagine that they probably dragged a lot of white people kicking and screaming into more R&B oriented, kind of thought lines, more of a gospel-y type of place than maybe any other white band of the 60s. And early 70s. So anyway, let's go ahead and rank these albums anyway. Let's just get this one out. It's a bit of an elephant in the room. This is, of course, Delaney and Bonnie and Friends on tour with Eric Clapton. Great album, but this is a live album, and this was kind of the one, it was basically I think their biggest selling album, effectively, with Eric Clapton on it. So story behind that, of course, is that basically, actually, this is worth showing too. Like, it's just a fantastic picture of like this whole crew. That's basically Delaney and Bonnie and the Friends, looking good. But anyway, Delaney and Bonnie are opening for Blind Faith, the supergroup with Ginger Baker, with Eric Clapton, Rick Gretsch. Don't forget Rick. Steve Winwood. And basically Eric Clapton is like, hey man, I really like hanging out with these Delaney and Bonnie people, and he's starting to feel like he needs to get out of the rock thing and do more of a soulful thing. At the time, the band was very big, so Delaney and Bonnie really have kind of a rootsy sound, and it totally makes sense. He ends up going out on tour with them, doing a bunch of recording. Delaney, basically produces his first album. Boom. Okay, so we're already at 3 minutes and I haven't even talked about our studio album, so let's just go ahead here. It's a great story. Delaney and Bonnie, just fascinating stuff. I'm gonna say I'm gonna rank as far as the album is the one that I don't have. I'm gonna put at I guess there would be number 5. So number 5, we'll go with Home from 1967-68. It's on the Stax label. It's a good record, but it's not the greatest. One of the things that is important that I should note is all of these albums are very close. They're very tight in quality. As in, they're all very good. If you like one album, you'll probably like all of them, because they're just it's just all very fantastic, gospel-y, kind of rock and soul. But Home, to me, feels like they're tentative. And one thing about Delaney and Bonnie is when they're tentative, when it's not as, powerful, it can be a little bit slack. So not a huge fan of that record. It is the only one, again, that I don't have. So I'm gonna put it at number 5. I gave it a couple listens, and yeah, I just feel like they're close, but they're not truly the Delaney and Bonnie that they would come. Okay, so yeah, so this is Motel Shot, 1971, I believe, and basically biggest hit from them, the Never Ending Song of Love. Apparently, Carl Radle, if you see the Bobby Whitlock channel, Carl Radle wrote this one. Delaney stole the credit, and it became basically their biggest hit. Good record. Story behind this was they were looking to kind of capture the post-concert vibe that they would have with all the friends, where they'd go back to the hotel and do some drinking and do some jamming, and this was kind of their attempt. It was recorded at a bunch of people's houses and stuff like that. So apparently the original tapes were just terrible. They had to do a lot of re-recording. But actually, when you listen to this record, it's actually very good. This is I think from here on in, pretty much every record is so close in terms of quality. But this one is very good. But again, not my favorite. But still worthy of pickup if you find this out there. We'll go to number 3. Except No Substitute from '68. I managed to get this one for 3 bones, which wasn't bad. On the Elektra label, that lovely paper. Good album. Very good album, actually. Like I say, the quality is not that different here in terms of the next of the final 3. So we got to get ourselves together on this one. When This Battle Is Over. It's a really good. You can tell that they're starting to get it. On Home, I felt like maybe they were a little bit wide-eyed and naive. Here, they got it. We got basically some great pictures of the friends on the back. Carl Radle, Jim Keltner on drums, Jim Price, Bobby Keys, who also played saxophone with the Rolling Stones. So anyway, Carl Radle, Leon Russell, of course, and Rita Coolidge, all part of the Delaney and Bonnie Friends. Really, really exceptional album. This is kind of, I think, really should be their real debut album. Because Home is close, but it's not as excellent as this. And so this one is also a very excellent record. I would call it their 3rd best LP. But let's go on to number 2. This was a bit of a struggle for me because this album is really good. There is a little separation, I think, between this LP and the top 2, Except No Substitute. To Bonnie from Delaney, this will be on the ACO label. Really good record. I mean, the cover itself is just so cool and so of an era that, what a cool looking couple. Great ones on this one. Hard Luck and Troubles just rips it up, right up to start the record. Great medley on this one. Come On in My Kitchen. Mama, He Treats Your Daughter Mean. Soul Shake on this. Living on the Open Road. It's got a little bit of Duane Allman slide. He's ripping on that track. Damn near a perfect record. Really, really good. Obviously, Clapton is on this too. This would be around that era with Clapton. But real confidence in the band on this one, and it shows. It's just a really. This is like I say. This was a real tight one for me. I was considering putting this at my number 1 slot, but in the end, you know what? That it really had to be D&B Together from 1972. A weird demonstration only stamp, but again, really, really great picture. D&B Together, of course, naturally came just as D&B, Delaney and Bonnie, were getting a divorce. So basically, Wexler, who had kind of been working with him at Atlantic, basically was like, "Oh, you guys are secretly breaking up? That's not going to be much money for us." So immediately they dropped him. He said this album wasn't good or something. I'm like, Jerry, come on. This album is excellent. And in this I would also say is your entry point. If you've never heard of Delaney and Bonnie, hear this record first. kicking it off just like in a scorching manner with Only You Know and I Know, which was the number 20 hit in the United States. It was their second biggest hit. Great song. Wade in the River Jordan. Well is kind of... They're really... What's sad about this record is that Delaney and Bonnie are starting to open up. It's not just straight rock and soul. There's elements of funk. There's other kind of gospel soul vibes all over this record. Groupie, Superstar, which of course later would be covered by the Carpenters and would be, basically would put Delaney in, suits and boots for pretty much probably the rest of his career. But Bonnie, really outstanding, stunning performance by her on that one. Probably her best performance. This is, like I say, this is the number one album, in my opinion, for a reason. And yeah, like I say, not really a dud on it. And it's my number one choice. So yeah, that was the ranking of the albums of Delaney and Bonnie. So we'll go backwards now. Delaney and Bonnie, D&B Together, 72. Number 1. Number 2, Delaney and Bonnie, To Bonnie from Delaney from 1971. And we go with from 68, Accept No Substitutes at number 3. Then we go to number 4, Motel Shot. Very good one. And then obviously number 5, Home. And then, if you get into the band, I mean, you cannot lose with this. It's some scorching lead work all over the place by a gentleman entitled Eric Clapton. So, really good. But yeah, that's been my ranking of Delaney and Bonnie. Like, subscribe, comment. If you're a big fan, tell me stories, about when you saw Delaney and Bonnie, how they changed your life or whatever, or... Yeah, just let me know, because there have been some folks who made comments and they're like, "Oh man, you gotta do a ranking of that," and here I am. Did the ranking. Delaney and Bonnie, great band, rock and soul, gospel. You should check them out. But in the meantime, we'll see you on the next video.